Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
Which I'm going to do today a little bit. But the thing is this. You know, I could ask you, say, oh, my, are you shocked by the depravity that is being exhibited right now with the Weinstein story? We go to the movies for the depravity. We love the depravity. We love the violence. We love the depravity. That's why we go to the movies. What do you think movies are? Since Lumiere discovered the projector or invented the projector, starlets have been seduced by people who were behind the camera and running the projectors. I mean, what? This is a shocker. The thing is that's shocking about this, I think, is that if you look at Weinstein's face, he has the face that matches the story. This is one of the most interesting faces I have seen in years. He looks sort of like a human gopher, someone who burrows down into things, and the face matches the story. That's what's intriguing. In other words, it's the ugly face of Hollywood. It's not the pretty boys. It's not the polished exercise guys. It's not the gluten-free people. It's not the gluten-free crowd. This is a guy who looks like he knocks down fries and chips and shakes. But he was really after something else. Now, that's not the biggest story in the world. I realize that, especially here in the Bay Area. I'm choking to death. I'm 30, 40 miles south of the fires, and I'm coated with my houses, my cars, coated with soot, choking to death from the smoke. Lives have been decimated. There are so many elements to the story of the fires in Napa and Sonoma that haven't been told by the major national media that I'm going to try to fill you in on today as well, because no one in the history of Sonoma and Napa have ever seen this many fires spontaneously ignite at once and spread as quickly. Nobody has ever seen it. Now, because I'm not in the world of government, I can ask questions they're not even asking themselves because they're busy dealing with the disaster of the fires, which are not out yet. And the questions are, were they ignited by individuals? Because nobody can understand how they moved so quickly and how they appeared all at once. There's another story I want to cover, which is the Vegas shooting. It's not over. Oh, not over at all. The so-called hero security guard, Mr. Campos, now it turns out, was actually shot before the shooter stopped shooting. Was Campos the security guard? I'm sorry to ask you. Was he somehow complicit in the shooting? Something's wrong. The police in Vegas have changed their story twice now. So was the hero security guard actually the shooter? Was he complicit in the shooting? We're asking. We don't know. How could the Las Vegas Police Department get the timeline so wrong? There are details here that we're going to talk about today about that. It's not over yet. Now, we're going to go also to other big stories today, which is Trump. There was a leaked story on the Drudge Report today that Trump is going to go to the border with North Korea and provoke Kim Jong-un, mentally ill Un. I think it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. I don't know who advised him to do this. I think it's a terrible provocation. I don't understand why a president would do this at a time like this. The area is a tinderbox. The guy on the other side of the hydrogen bomb is insane. Why would you go there to provoke him? Do you think Trump should go to the border with North Korea and provoke Kim Jong mentally ill? And also today in the next hour, we have an amazing, really big guest. Great guy, the bravest journalist in America today, James O'Keefe, who did a sting tape of the New York Times, where the New York Times editor was caught talking about how he biases every story and how he used to work for Hillary Clinton and how he allegedly was a supporter of Antifa. This is a huge story of a sting operation. But since we're talking about a sting operation, the New Yorker magazine published audio today from a New York Police Department sting operation, reportedly from a 2015 encounter between Italian model Ambra Battilana Gutierrez and Harvey Weinstein in his hotel. And according to this story, the two of them was standing in the hallway outside Harvey's hotel room, and Harvey, the mogul, tells Gutierrez, the ingenue, about the actresses he has helped, while trying to get her into his room while he showers. Now, I'm going to play the tape for a couple of reasons. He says to her, "You must come here now," Weinstein says in the audio, while Ms. Gutierrez resists. And then he gets crazy. He says, "Please, now, you're embarrassing me." It is actually frightening to listen to his voice, because when you listen to the voice, you realize this is not the innocent groping you may have thought it was. I know you say, if you're a woman, there's no such thing as innocent groping. I get that. But to guys, I got to tell you something. Groping me, he brushed again. No, he didn't. This is crazy now. Now, in conversation with Gutierrez, he admits to groping her. We have that audio as well. And Gutierrez then goes to police at the NYPD and says she was assaulted, and they don't do anything. This is even more interesting. It goes back to when he did it the first time with someone, and he immediately lawyered up with someone from the Rudy Giuliani firm. Oh, yeah, not a good story. It's so bad in every different way you can imagine. And I how long is this tape? We have to play it? All right, first of all, we're going to talk about the fires in Napa, Sonoma, the wineries that have been burned, the houses that have been burned, the hotels that have been burned, the lives that have been destroyed forever. We are going to put out a call for help with the seniors who are they have no housing. You don't know this, but many of you don't know this. Sonoma is a huge retirement community for many seniors from the San Francisco Bay Area who move up there. They sell their houses down in the Marin County area in San Francisco, and they move there because it was much cheaper. Many of them have no homes right now. They don't know where to go. They have nowhere to live. We're going to put out a call for help on that. That's a huge story. And then we're very worried about the decimated lands up there. Where have the animals gone? Where's the livestock, the thousands of cattle, the goats, the pigs, the sheep? You may think it's a joke. It isn't. So I want to talk about this. The phone. If you didn't listen to my show yesterday, by the way, and you should have, we had a call from a fire battalion chief who said that he was at a conference not too long ago where they were warned that ISIS had been told to set fires in forested areas near urban centers in America. He does not rule out terrorism in the fires in Napa and Sonoma. He does not rule that out. So these are some of the stories that we're going to talk about. On the weekend, we had Columbus Day on Sunday. It was one of the most beautiful days of my life to date. Really one of the finest days. Perfect weather, happy Italians, one parade thing after another, overhead air show, Blue Angels, great, unbelievable. And the air was perfect. And a visiting friend from the East Coast said it's never been more beautiful. He never saw anything like it. The very next morning, bingo, we went from heaven to hell. And we're going to talk about all these things today on the Savage Nation. If you care to join the conversation on any of these topics, and I'll repeat the questions, was the hero security guard in Vegas involved in the shooting? Okay, that's a big one. Very big. Do you think Trump should go to the border with North Korea in a couple of weeks and provoke the madman? I think it's the stupidest idea I have ever heard in my life. I don't know how the generals can allow him to do this. I realize he's the commander-in-chief, but he's not a dictator. And whether he is listening to the generals is one question I have no way to answer. But I have a fear he's listening to an uneducated talk show host who does everything simply for ratings. He's jacking the family around simply for ratings. And the very same talk show host, I'm not going to hold anything back, had Don Jr. on during the worst phase of these investigations. Don Jr. was encouraged by this talk show host who was obsessed only with ratings to say things that will indict Don Jr. And I went on the air right after Don Jr. did this on that dumb talk show host show who's doing it only for his own gain. And I said, Don, if you're listening to this show, dummy up, disappear, don't give any more interviews. You didn't do yourself any favor by going on that idiot's television show and talking about stuff that's going to be used to nail you to a cross. You're going to be crucified. Don't listen to this guy. There's only so much you can get out of a hammer and a nail. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. All right, so look, it's a salacious tape. There's no question. It's not at all pornographic. Children can listen to it. There are no dirty words in it. But you're listening to the alleged tape of a very big and powerful man from Hollywood named Harvey Weinstein, allegedly in conversation with a model, Amber Batalina Gutierrez, in March of 2015. It's a little sickening, by the way. I got to tell you this. This is not humorous. There's no humor in this. There's no fun in any of this. It's actually mentally challenging to listen to what you're about to hear. This is a desperate man. This reminds me in some way, listening to it, of Anthony Weiner. There are people with sexual problems that they can control, or sexual proclivities that they have completely under control. It doesn't take over their whole life. They compartmentalize their sexual issues. And there are those who do not compartmentalize their sexual issues. I would guess, I'm not in Hollywood, but I would guess that virtually everyone who's ever gone to Hollywood goes, the men in particular who rise to high places, go there for the sexuality that is rampant and to get control over men or women, boys or girls, when I say it that way, whatever they like. They know they have the power to get it. The casting couch is nothing new. However, no one has ever heard what you're about to hear, anything like. I never heard anything like this. I've been around a little while, and I want to play it for you. Now, again, this was released today by The New Yorker. It's Harvey Weinstein reportedly pressuring a young model to watch him while he takes a shower. This is if this is true, this is sicker than you could imagine. I've never heard anything like this. How does he get excited by having a girl watch him take a shower? What is it? I don't understand it even. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny about this. Where is the disconnect here in the brain? What wire is crossed? What circuit is broken? I don't understand this one. If there's a psychiatrist listening to the show who deals with sexual pathology, can you please call the Savage Nation after we all listen to this and explain where the excitement is in watching someone watch you shower? I don't quite understand that. I just don't understand it. Leave it at that. Okay? So here it is, released today by The New Yorker. Mr. Weinstein, blame them, not me. And I wish you the best. I actually have pity for you, to be honest with you. To be honest, I'm not getting any pleasure out of this. I feel bad for the guy. I think there's something so wrong here. There's something so damaged here that as a compassionate human being, I have pity for the man. Listen to 01.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you.
I
Now
know.
you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I cannot. No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to be
won't
touched.
do a thing.
I don't want
Do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time.
I
Sit
know,
with me.
but
I
I don't
promise.
want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I
I
ask
can't.
you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go
to.
to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not
stay.
embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
Honey, don't have a fight with me in the
It's not
hall.
nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right
Please
now.
come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket, you can go.
yesterday you touched my breast?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
Are you used to that?
Yes, come in. Because
No, but I'm not used to
I
that.
won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Don't ruin your friendship with me. Don't ruin your friendship with me. At a time like this, you don't know what to say. You can't laugh at this. You can't laugh at people who have such weakness or sickness. You can't. Did I really laugh at Anthony Weiner? I felt bad for him when I saw those tapes. Okay, so here we go again. Now, whether the model is using it to her own advantage, of course she is right now, but that's sort of irrelevant. How did this tape get made? Was she wearing a wire? The NYPD had sent her back, I believe, because she had said it happened before. So they sent her back. She taped this interchange. God. You know, I say God because it's the only place I can turn. We had floods in Houston. Then we had the next set of floods in Florida and the hurricanes. Then we had the Las Vegas mass slaughter. Now we have the out-of-control fires in Napa and Sonoma. It's like the end of times. I'm not given to these thoughts. I'm not given to these thoughts. It's like the end of the world. Something is so off with the whole picture. And then we have, a president who says he's going to go, allegedly, to the border of North Korea and mock or provoke Kim Jong-un, who threatens to have a hydrogen bomb. And he's egged on, apparently, by a guy in the media who's going to get more mileage out of him. I don't know what's going on in this situation other than, I can say, well, leave it to God. It's God's hand. Let's read God, Faith, and Reason together when it comes out. I'll do all of that. But I swear to you, when I said to you I had to do a book for God, and I'm not going to do an infomercial right now, as my thanks to God for having given me this great career he's given me, and my health, and my great family, I said, this is the book I have to write. The publisher wasn't happy with it, but I wrote it. It's really based upon writings I've written since I was very young. God, Faith, and Reason. And now, where would I turn today? I don't know where to turn. Where do you turn today? Where do you turn for sanity in this insane world? I'm telling you, it looks like a crazier world by the day. Vegas, Napa fires, Hollywood scandals. It's hard to follow all of this. How do you put it together? How do you, if you're up there in Napa, Sonoma, and you move there to retire, and all of a sudden your retirement home has been burned to the ground, your little house? What if your dog was burned alive? It's hard to believe what people are suffering right now up in the Napa, Sonoma area. The national media is not covering this devastation. It is though it looks like a bombing run. If you were to go there and look at the pictures of Sonoma, Napa, it looks like after a bombing run in Vietnam. The place is decimated. It looks like they were burned out with napalm. It looks like a village in South Vietnam in 1967.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Well, out here in the Bay Area, we have a scorched earth up there in Napa, Sonoma. You say, well, I don't care. This is the funny thing about America. We're not really a cohesive nation. When you had the floods in Houston, right, you didn't care in New York. It wasn't affecting you. When they hit Florida, maybe because you go down there or your mother lives in a retirement home. But, it's a very regional thing. It's a very local thing. It's a very neighborhood thing. If it doesn't affect your block in Manhattan, you really don't care what goes on in the world. I've seen that. I've known it. I've lived in New York. And Manhattan is about the most provincial place on the planet. In other words, East 73rd Street is East 73rd Street, and there's nothing outside of East 73rd Street to those who live on East 73rd Street. No one cares about the fires in Napa, Sonoma unless they had property there or they had a relative there. This is the horror of it. So here I am doing a national show, and I'm trying to get you to understand what a devastation this is. Trust me on this. The national media is not doing a service to the people in this area. I am 30, 40 miles south. San Francisco is coated in smoke right now. San Francisco, a major city, is covered with smoke. The air quality is that of after a bombing mission. The area of Napa, Sonoma looks like a bombing run had just been conducted, like napalm, like someone napalmed some neighborhoods. I'm telling you, nothing's standing. There's sticks coming out of the ground. How did all these fires start spontaneously at almost the same time? There's a lot going on here that's not being even looked at because it's so devastating. Of course, the officials are dealing with the now, not with what caused it. Who's ever going to look into what caused it? People don't know if there was an accident that set this off. Was it done on purpose? No one who knows natural fires has said to me, Michael Savage, yes, this moved this quickly on its own. No one's ever seen this happen before. Then we got the Weinstein sting, as published by the New Yorker. the tape. Very sad, a very sick situation. The man sounds desperately hopeless or hopelessly desperate. WABC, Maisha, what are you calling about? I called. I love that. I build up 34 minutes into the show, have a call screener. Instead of screening the guy, I got a dead phone. My heart stops. It stops the minute it happens, my heart stops. So we'll try again. Let's go to another subject. It is alleged that our president wants to go to the border with North Korea with some schmendrick in the media who's hungry for ratings, will burn the whole Trump family to the ground to get another Nielsen point, in my estimation. Why would he go there? Who is he listening to? The generals would certainly say, don't provoke the madman. It doesn't even look good. Let's say not provoking him. Does this look good for America to have a president go there and like put his finger on, nah. It's like a schoolboy. No, don't go there, Mr. Trump. Don't go and provoke him. What are you trying to do? Then you have the whole issue of security. Let's say you're a pilot for Air Force One. You want to fly into the Koreas with the president of the United States right now. Does this make sense to anyone listening to this show? Who would suggest that he would do this? But can anyone tell me who would tell the president to do this other than someone in the media who's egging him on in order to get some boost in ratings? Who would tell him to do a thing like this? KSFO, John, do you think it's smart for Trump to go to the border of North Korea and provoke Kim Jong mentally ill?
I think this is a terrible idea, and I'm not 100% sure where the report came out of, but this is obviously on top of some sort of national holiday in North Korea. And as we know, that Kim Jong-un is the biggest bluffer of all time, and he inherited that quality from his family. But on the brink of World War III, I think it is the worst possible idea to give this guy more fuel to the fire.
Thank you. That's what I think. Here, Donald Trump to visit North Korea border next month. It's in the Daily Star out of the UK. It says Donald Trump may visit the North Korean border next month. When he visits the South, according to defense sources, will potentially travel to the demilitarized zone in early November when he visits South Korea. Sent a team official to the peninsula to check potential sites for Trump's special activity when he is there. Now, it says Trump is widely expected to send a message to North Korea, either verbally or kinetically, when he makes the foreign visit. What does he mean by kinetically? What is he going to give him the FU hand? What in the world? Who's advising the president? Sorry, Mr. President, you're not listening to me. Because if you were listening to me, you wouldn't go anywhere near Korea. Not only because you don't want to provoke the nut, it looks bad for you. It will not advance peace. It will advance violence and war. Moreover, you look like an idiot if you do it. It will not make you look stronger. It'll make you look like a child. What in the world? He's stepping up his war of words with Kim Jong-un. We're on the brink of World War III, according to certain security experts. You can say, oh, they're just nervous Nellies. Just nervous Nellies. And we shouldn't worry at all. Let him go there and let him have fun with the cameras running from the TV station. And it'll be very good. It'll be a lot of campy fun to see him give hand signals to North Korea. That's not how I see it. I'm a psychiatric nurse on Weinstein's issues. Cindy on KBOI out of Boise, line 3. Go ahead. Okay, you're a psychiatric nurse, Cindy?
Yes, sir. I worked in several units, both in the state of Florida, sir, and in Connecticut on units where people, as you said, because I can hear the compassion in your voice, struggle.
Did you say you work on units?
Units. I worked on several psychiatric units, and I actually worked in Newtown, Connecticut, in the psych in hospital there. Before they decided that they were not going to have any more a state.
But you listened to the alleged Weinstein tape released by the New Yorker, which I played.
Yes, sir.
I had terrible compassion for him. I heard a desperate man. What did you hear there? What does he mean? Just watch me shower? What was he saying?
Well, what was he saying, sir? Because you do have that compassionate element to it that you bring into every situation, and part of that addiction is that the incessant struggle. It's more like even the titillating, like the please help me is all part that gets caught up, and you would know that because you know a lot about marijuana, but the addictive part of your brain. Gamblers have a whole different thing, and those in sexual, that have sexual proclivity or sexual addictions, pornography, or what have you, that isn't so not sounding that it doesn't sound like the pleading is part of the process. The struggle is part of the process. She's just an object. So it's almost like at an arousal level, an excitement that the pleading, the begging, the...
But hold on, Cindy, the nurse, he goes from please do it to demanding she do it all in one sentence. It's actually a frightening shift in voice. You heard that, right?
Exactly, but you picked right up on that, and that is evil. That is depravity. That's how, when one says you can turn yourself over to a reprobate, depraved mind, you got it, Dr. Savage. That is right on. And so, yeah.
What, like one of these things like, please, I want to help you. I want to help you now.
Yeah, exactly. So the process.
I'm gonna help you. I swear I don't mean to hurt you. I'm gonna help you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It is. It is.
Now you know why I never went into acting, because I'm too good and I can never read anyone else's script. But I can emote, and I feel bad for this guy. I'm telling you, he needs treatment.
I can see that, sir, and I know that's what you're.
Okay, but on the issue of arousal, not to get, let us say, I don't want to be salacious about this. He's saying to her, come in and watch me shower. How does that get him erotically excited? What is that about?
That's just about what you said. It's about the arousal. What is? There are many types of.
No, but why would a man find a woman watching him shower arousing? I don't understand that.
Because I think you understand spiritual things. There is such a thing as, and no, you can't understand that from a perspective of just clinical psychiatry. There's a spiritual evil element tied up in that, sir. And it's
so you're saying by taking her innocence in that way, that turns him on?
That possibly could be one element.
She looks like an innocent girl, like a young, innocent woman. So by making this little girl in his mind watch this old, fat, ugly guy, pardon me, shower, that turns him on because he's making her watch this old, fat guy shower?
Yes, that is absolutely true. It's more power and control issues. It's not even the beauty of the person or how pretty or innocent she may look. It is about power and control issues, and I'm sure you could get a psychologist or a psychiatrist on there that deals with people that are deep, far deep into S&M, all kinds of sexual sins. What is the arousal element? I mean, they even have shows not just with what happens, what you can get your mind caught up in, sir. But I'm actually grateful that you're exposing this, because it's not just this person out there, it's many others. This isn't such a thing that it's not in many, not just that he was involved with Hollywood or whoever. So it's not just Mr. Weinstein.
You're saying it's not limited to a powerful mogul of Hollywood. This is more. You're saying it's more prevalent than I imagine.
Yes, sir.
So do you deal with the sexual cases?
Well, I did when I worked, I don't know, I can't really name the places, but I worked in Newtown, Connecticut, and I worked in
Newtown, no less. What a coincidence that is.
Florida. I'll just leave it at that. So
Newtown, Connecticut, what a loaded statement that is.
That's just the truth, sir. And it's.
I know. Look, Cindy, listen to me. You sound like a very religious, spiritual woman. Are you?
Yes, I am, sir. That's why I'm so glad, and I've been praying for your book to come out there, because I know you are too. And you said, well, where do people...
Well, I'm not that religious and spiritual. I'm a searcher, and I'm very conflicted about the whole thing, like, where is God? Why doesn't God show himself? And it finally dawned on me after writing the book and finishing it. It was like a bell went off in my head. It was like E = MC squared, when I realized God is invisible to us because he wants us to keep looking for him. And the looking for him makes us better people. That's the worship unto itself, is by looking for him.
You know what? You have part of that right.
Cindy, no one has ever written that. Someone has said to me that God, Faith, and Reason is like a missing book from the Old Testament. This is like the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is like a discovery that wasn't even in the literature. They said you're like an ancient... I'm going to say it now. A guy who reviewed it for me said it's like you're an ancient prophet, and this is like a missing book from the Old Testament. This is what he said. I know, self-aggrandizement, now you're a prophet. What can I tell you? So I'm sending you a copy. Stay in the line. I'll start giving them out today, God, Faith, and Reason. They'll be out in a month. And it's going to be a long shot that anyone actually buys this book outside the religious people. I do not believe that the folks who go to Harvey Weinstein's films will be interested in God, Faith, and Reason. I do not believe that Hollywood will option God, Faith, and Reason for a movie with Quentin Tarantino starring any of the famous stars. I doubt very much that Meryl Streep will star in God, Faith, and Reason as Mary. I really don't know if this will see much more than a very limited audience. I hope it does. Now, we're also talking about the fires, the Weinstein. Is Joe a psychiatrist, Robert? We'll get him in a minute on KBET. Because there's something with the childhood issue here from someone is saying. This is something, a flashback. Somebody did it to him. Usually, without getting too detailed, this is not about Harvey Weinstein. Usually, in my vast reading on various subjects, I have found that people with sexual issues almost always, are reflecting a childhood trauma in one way or another. I think that's well known in psychiatric literature. I happen to be extremely Freudian in my viewpoints, even though I'm an amateur in that field. But Freudian certainly said it. I don't think much has changed since he wrote that original analysis.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Well, we all need a good night's sleep in the midst of all of this madness, and I got to tell you now that I've been sleeping pretty well on my Casper mattress. I pick it over every mattress I ever had. It really does help me get the best night's sleep, period. Listen, once you try Casper, you're going to love yours as much as I love mine. Switching to Casper is a no-brainer. It's a higher quality mattress at a more affordable price. I am sleeping cool and comfortable every night thanks to Casper's 2 high-tech foams, much better than on the old overpriced mattresses that we're used to. Casper ships right to your door for free in a very small, how they do that size box. They'll even pick it up, and if you don't love it, they'll refund you every dime. From its breakthrough design and superior quality to its packaging to letting you try it for 100 nights, it is no wonder Casper was named one of Fast Company's 50 most innovative brands of 2017. Sleeping on a mattress is the best way to try it, so put Casper to the test in your own home for 100 nights. Just go to Casper.com, code SAVAGE. You're going to get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. That's Casper.com, code SAVAGE, and get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com, terms and conditions do apply. KBET Las Vegas. Joe, what's your topic? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Michael, just a personal opinion after having been around some guys who dealt with things like this, but I think this just goes back to his childhood. At some point, maybe when he was very young, somebody was watching him shower. It made him feel good. He knew there was something mysterious about it, whatever, and he's just reliving it. I mean, that's just probably what happened. But
doesn't a grown man who does this, of his prominence, understand at some point he's going to get caught?
Probably, or he's so powerful he thinks he's invincible, right?
I see what you mean. In other words, he's done it 1,000 times, and he tells the girl, like he said, if you don't do it, you'll never see me again, meaning her career will come to an end.
Correct.
So in other words, he's got so much power that Midas can do whatever he wants.
Right.
Well, it's pretty awful for everyone concerned. But, you can't see, I saw something yesterday with Donna Karen. She backtracked, said, were the girls asking for it? I don't think this girl was asking to watch an old fat guy take a shower in front of her. Do you?
That's probably the last thing she wanted.
I bet she couldn't wait to move from Italy to see an old fat ugly guy shower in front of her naked. That's she moved here just for that experience. No, it's crazy. The world's nuts. My ankles are swelling even thinking about it. This is sick. The man is like an Anthony Weiner in my. If this is all true, if this tape is authentic from the New Yorker, and I would assume that it is, because otherwise, why would they release it? If this is authentic, and this is what if this is what turns him on, so to speak, wow. Kill Bill, yeah. I wonder where the movies come from. I wonder where all those horror movies come from, shooting someone's brains out in a car. With the I forget the name of that movie, Kill Bill. With the other one, who remembers the names of the movies? All right, so we got Korea, Weinstein, fires, Vegas. Crazy world, crazy world. Only God knows what's going on. Only God can save us. In the next hour, James O'Keefe with his expose and sting of the New York Times. You're not going to want to miss it.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award.
So what's trending on the Savage Nation? What's trending? Like a madhouse. It's like a madhouse here. I never saw anything like it yet. Put this together. Do a pastiche in your head. The Weinstein thing, the California wildfires, the wine country fires. It just doesn't end. Beginning to end, nothing makes sense anymore. Allegedly, Trump's going to the border of North Korea to provoke Kim Jong-un next month with some media guy who wants a little boost in ratings and doesn't care whether the country burns to the ground. It's crazy. The world's crazier than it ever was. And I thank God that I have a microphone to come to every day. I wouldn't know if I were you out there listening to me, I wouldn't know what I would do with myself. At least I can talk about it. And of course, you can talk about it by calling my number, but there's no way to get through because people are crazy right now with the world the way it is. Crazy. I had a beautiful day Sunday. North Beach is the Italian district of San Francisco. They had the 149th or so Columbus Day parade. I told you about it yesterday. Most of you were here or not here, whatever. It was a glorious day. I sat outside Pinocchio restaurant with my friends and family. I watched the parade. I was dancing the Tarantella with Giovanni, who owns the Pinocchio, after a couple of glasses of white wine. You know, it was a beautiful day. The parents sent the children over to talk to me. I got to thank the parents who did, by the way. And if you kids are listening to the show, you gave me a whole new view of who listens to the show. So many young people are asked to listen to this show by their parents. It's amazing what I saw with my own eyes, you know, when you go out into the real world as opposed to sitting in your studio. And it was perfect weather. Then I wake up and bingo, the fires come in. Right now I am sitting a little north of San Francisco. The sky is obliterated. I cannot see 500 feet outside my studio. It looks like nuclear winter. And up in Napa, Sonoma, where the smoke is coming from, it looks like Vietnam after a carpet bombing. What are these fires? Is there anyone listening to this show could tell me if these multiple fires that initiated almost at once were the type that ignited themselves? Because people who live up there are reporting to me that they, in all their years in Sonoma, Napa, they have never seen so many fires initiate at once and move so quickly. We have a caller from Cal Poly, a great university, Professor Chris. Chris, thanks for calling. You say that you know something about the fires. Will you please share it with the audience?
Well, sure. I appreciate the call. Well, fires have been burning for tens of thousands of years here in California. You know, the level of destruction we've been witnessing, it's a relatively new phenomenon, but unfortunately it's becoming the new normal for much of the U.S., I mean, outside of even California.
Well, no. Before you go on, I'm aware of the fact that forests spontaneously ignite in late summer and early autumn in California. It's a way of clearing their own. You know, they clean themselves. But I've never heard about 6 or 5 fires starting at once in the Napa Sonoma and jumping the hill so quickly. That's what I'm interested in.
Well, all it takes, you know, everything is set up here in California with the weather and the vegetation, everything, to have these sorts of fires, and it all comes down to some way of needing ignitions. And so whether that is some accident, someone driving a chain behind a car, or arsonists, you know, you always have the nuts coming out, you know, when the weather's hot and windy, you know, they're there as well. So
you don't rule out the arsonists. Okay, I mean, there's been no investigation yet that I know of. Maybe it's ongoing, but it's too soon. What about this topic? North Korea. Trump is allegedly going to go to North Korea and goad Kim Jong mentally ill on. Terrible idea. Crazy. Also, the Weinstein thing. If you haven't heard the Weinstein tape, I have an obligation to tell you it was released by The New Yorker in a conversation with Ms. Gutierrez. It opens with him in a hallway, allegedly, where she's wearing a wire because she came out saying he did it to her before. She went to the NYPD. They had brushed aside an earlier case, a huge incident, big embarrassment for the NYPD, of the head of the World Bank, that guy. Remember that story? Great movie, by the way, entitled Welcome to New York, one of the best movies I've ever seen, as acted out by the great French actor with the Shakespearean nose, whose name I forget. You got to see that movie, Welcome to New York. But he got off with it, basically. The NYPD dropped the ball. They were told to drop the case of another rich, powerful guy. So they were very, very intimidated to drop this case. So they sent her back with a wire, and this is what went on. They were standing in the hall now. This is Ms. Gutierrez, allegedly Ms. Gutierrez, with Harvey Weinstein in a hotel, as released by The New Yorker.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. Now you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I cannot. No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to be touched.
I won't do a thing.
I don't.
Everything, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time. Sit with me. I promise.
Don't want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I ask
can't.
you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
I mean, don't have a fight with me in the hall.
Not nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in.
Like desperate
everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Please come in now.
What a shanda.
1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket,
yesterday you touched my breast?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that.
But are you used to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to that.
I won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes. So now, top of the Drudge Report, magazine is saying 3 women accused Weinstein of rape. That includes Paltrow, Jolie, casting couch abuse. Suddenly they got from. Suddenly they came out, oh, God, he did it to me, too. Another 5 minutes of fame. Come on. Gwyneth Paleface Paltrow. And she's saying he did something, blah, 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 blah. She refused his advances, blah, blah, blah. Rosanna Arquette, another one who's so over the hill you can't even see her, had a similar account to Mr. Weinstein, as does Angela Jolie, blah, 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 release of Playing by Heart in the night that he made unwanted advances in her hotel room, blah, blah, blah. Why are they all now suddenly jumping on Harvey? First they were dummied up, they wouldn't say a word. So it's an industry turning on itself. But the bigger question to me is, why is the New Yorker turning on him? I mean, they are liberal central. Yes, it is true they did a profile of me that was rather fair, let's put it to you that way, 19, whatever the year was, I don't remember. I don't think they'd ever do it again. If they ever did me again, I guarantee they would make me look worse than Harvey Weinstein prime. But why are they turning on him? Why is the left eating the left all of a sudden? Is there a psychiatrist in the house who can help this audience figure out what this is with a guy like him? He looks like a gopher. If you look at his face, I mean, I'm not a particularly good-looking guy. I'm not a bad-looking, good-looking, but this guy, I got to tell you the truth, is like the portrait of Dorian Gray, or like a touch of evil to me. It's the face of a gopher, like a human gopher, like digging, always putting his face somewhere, digging. What is he doing here with the shower? Is there a psychiatrist who can tell me where the sexual excitement is in this? He's going to be in a shower making a pretty young woman watch an old fat guy shower? Is that what does it? Like the Beauty and the Beast thing? Like he makes the beauty watch the beast, so therefore he gets turned on? I'm trying to do this in a friendly way because I don't understand it. Truly don't understand it. All right, let's take a caller or two. Mary, the women are calling on this. The men are not even they're frightened of this whole thing. Mary, NTW, Virginia, line 2. What do you make of the Weinstein thing?
Dr. Savage, I remember in a more innocent time, like in the early 70s, I remember hearing about the famous football player who was really handsome, Lance Rensel, and he had exposed himself to some little girls. And he was married to a beautiful actress at the time, Joy Heatherton. And I just remember being so floored. I'd never heard of anything like that. And I thought, I got to thinking about it, and I got to thinking not only was it horrible, but he was taking a real chance being a famous guy like that and ruining everything. And I was thinking about that again with Weinstein and even that creep Weiner. And I was thinking, this is exposure plus some type of heightened Russian roulette experience where you might come to the end of ruining everything. But if
oh, you mean he could destroy his whole life and that excites him?
Yeah, the
I just got a migraine. Thanks for the call. My head I can't. My left side of my head closed down completely from that. The entire left side of my brain. I'm functioning purely on like one engine right now. My right brain is working. The left brain shut down. I can't understand this. Anyway, my friends, it gets sicker than this. Rob Reiner, who's probably one of the most disgusting men that has ever come out of God's creation. Rob Reiner, who played Meathead in, or whatever, All in the Family years ago. Didn't he play Meathead, the son? The conservative son? Well, Meathead is one of the worst people in the world, in my estimation. Stupid on top of it all. Yeah, I know he's richer than me. I get it, but he's stupid. Rob Reiner said, yeah, but what Weinstein did is bad, but Trump is worse. Listen to clip 3. Listen to how sick. He said this at the Hamptons International. You see, there's a lot of film festivals right now, don't you know? There's one here in Mill Valley. There's one in the Hamptons. This is the time for the film festival. Great timing, Mill Valley Film Festival. Napa and Sonoma burnt to the ground, and you're celebrating Sean Penn. Very smart, very sensitive of you. Let's listen to 03.
Well, Harvey Weinstein did a bad thing. He did a really bad thing. I mean, there's no defending that. I mean, that's horrible. It's horrible. But as somebody pointed out, they're saying, we should, and Chuck Schumer, I think, actually said, I'm going to give all the money back that Harvey Weinstein, because he raised a lot of money for Democrats. But he's a donor. He's not the guy in office. How about the guy who's in office who gave all that money to politicians, who's the president of the United States now, who's also an abuser? I mean, that to me, it's like it's false equivalency. It's like when you see an argument about climate change, and they say, well, both sides. There's no both sides. Some issues there's only one side. And that's one of the ones that's one side. So, yes, Harvey Weinstein's a bad guy.
Rob, there's only your side, you stupid putz, you. There's only your side. How far did you go in science, Rob? Rob Liner? Rob Liar? There's only one side in climate science? Are you stupider than you actually sound? Because you raise your stupid Hollywood voice, you think that you just made a point? Now you're getting me mad. When you see an argument about climate change and they say, well, you don't know both sides. I'm sorry, there's only one side, and I know what it is, because I'm Rob Reiner. Stupid! Now you know why liberals are laughed at everywhere but in New York City and Hollywood, you schmucks, you! Hey, did I blow through a stop sign here or what? It's 19 minutes after the hour. Remember, right after 34, we got a great guest on, Jim O'Keefe, who has a huge sting operation that went on against the New York Times. He joins us right here on the Savage Nation. Be here, be nowhere.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. I guess I said I was going to have some. Sally Hoffmeister, a spokesperson for Harvey Weinstein, according to The New Yorker, put out a statement in response to the allegations that they published in their article, and I feel obliged to read it to you. It says, quote, any allegations of non-consensual sex are unequivocally denied by Mr. Weinstein. Mr. Weinstein has further confirmed that there were never any acts of retaliation against any women for refusing his advances. Mr. Weinstein obviously can't speak to anonymous allegations. But with respect to anyone, it's worse than a live read. But with respect to any women who have made allegations on the record, Mr. Weinstein believes that all of those relationships were consensual. Mr. W has begun counseling. Yeah, counseling. Has listened to the community. I'm sorry, I can't help laughing. Is that illegal? And is pursuing a better path. Mr. Weinstein is hoping that if he makes enough progress, he will be given a second chance. Oh, stop it. Apparently, is Anthony Weiner in counseling, or is he in jail yet? I think they all get around it by saying they're going to get counseling on the way to jail. KBET Las Vegas. Carl, you are a therapist. You've called often. What do you make of this whole showering business?
Yeah, doctor. I look at it this way. I don't know his age, but you have an idea of his age? Approximately early 70s?
I don't know. I'm guessing 60-ish. Who knows?
Okay. There's a certain point where there's nothing much you can do. Listening to his tape and so forth, I find he has probably a very severe inferiority complex, and he's trying to build up his confidence by getting young women, attractive young women, to play up to him, to do what he wants.
No, that's a given, but I'm asking something else. That's a given. That's been going on since Lumiere invented the projector, or the projection bulb, whatever he did. I'm asking another question. According to this tape, we hear Weinstein saying, I'm going to go in the shower and I want you to watch me. What is that about? How does that arouse a man?
Because he knows that the average woman doesn't want to see him that way. And he wants...
Well, of course. What, an old fat guy in a shower? I can't imagine that's a high item on the list of a young woman's erotic fantasies. So you mean he's doing it to mentally abuse someone?
No, that's part of it, control. He wants to control them. But aside from that, he wants to build up his own confidence in himself.
What, by showering naked and looking at a girl? How does that build up your confidence? I can't fathom that.
Well, he has very low confidence level.
Okay, but he has low confidence in your opinion. So by showering naked in front of a girl who doesn't want him to shower in front of her, his confidence goes up?
It is, because he's had the power to get her to do this.
Oh, God.
Controlled her.
What was in the food in Kew Gardens? I don't know. Was it the air they breathed over there? Was it the corned beef? Was it the seltzer? I allege a lot of this, the Larry David mentality, is from the seltzer, the carbon dioxide. The high CO2 levels of seltzer in their youth damaged their brains. Rob Reiner, too. Seltzer.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
I just want to thank my agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein. The Punisher, Old Testament, I guess.
Meryl Streep there at the 2012 Golden Globes on Harvey, calling him God. They all loved him then, now they hate him. Okay, what a world we're living in, right? Still confusion out of Vegas, 1,000 leads later, still stumped. And yet, there's a new story. The guard was shot before the massacre. He tried to alert the hotel, and they did nothing. Huge story, covered up. Fires in the wine country. Fires. It's an inferno. It looks like Vietnam. It looks like a picture out of the 60s with carpet bombing. It's still raging. 15 dead, 200 missing. It doesn't end. And now we have another story. James O'Keefe, a true investigative journalist, as opposed to the fake kind, took a hidden microphone and camera, and interviewed some guy from the New York Times, a top editor. And what he caught on a hidden camera is astonishing. It confirms everything you've ever feared about the bias of the New York Times and the liberal press. It is the American Pravda. Before Jim O'Keefe joins us on the show, he's standing by. You got to listen to this. He's talking to a guy at the Times, a really top editor, who says his voice and his imprint is on every video that he does. His name is Dudek. Let's hear 06, please.
So as the gatekeeper for videos on the New York Times, do you get to make sure that you can make sure your message is heard?
Yeah.
Cool.
My voice is on my imprint's on every video we do.
Cool.
So I like that.
My voice is on every imprint that we do. Now, this editor at the Times I believe worked for Obama and Hillary Clinton, and on top of it all, was he either sympathetic to or worked with Antifa. Now, Dudek, this editor at the time, still not fired, he then goes on to explain what he might do to target President Trump. This is an editor, a top editor at the New York Times, so-called objective New York Times. Listen to 07, it's shocking.
I target his businesses, his dumb of his son, Donald Jr. and Eric, so they're running Trump, like the Trump business. Target that. Get people to boycott going to his hotels. Boycott. So a lot of the Trump brands, if you can ruin the Trump brand, and you put pressure on his business, and you start investigating his business, and you start shutting it down, whether hacking or other things, he cares about his business more than he cares about being president.
Right.
He would resign. Or he'd lash out and do something incredibly illegal, which she would have to.
This is shocking in many ways, and we have the author of this phenomenal undercover tape, something that the old networks used to be famous for, they've ceased doing. We have the best American journalist of his times joining us right now, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. James, welcome again to the Savage Nation.
Hey, Dr. Savage, great to be back with you.
James, let me ask a couple of questions. This guy, Dudek, what does he do at the New York Times?
He's responsible for their videos. He's basically the audience strategy editor. So he's responsible for making sure all the videos get out to the people, curating the videos, making sure they're out front. He chooses what people see in the New York Times' video department.
All right, that's a fair enough job. Now, before working for the New York Times, what did this fellow, who did he work for?
So he worked for the Hillary Clinton campaign. He states in the video that when he worked for Clinton, they needed a strategist to do video, and they needed someone to help them do video. So he describes how he left these political jobs for the Democrats to take a job for the Clinton campaign, and then he states, and this is very interesting in the video, he explains how his activism motivated him to re-engage in the news business. He said after the Clinton campaign, quote, I need to get back into the news and keep doing SHIT because this isn't going to change. So he reveals his past work for Obama and Hillary, and that motivated him to go work for the New York Times.
What I'm about to play on the Savage Nation is even more shocking. In clip 09, you got him, or your reporter got this guy, Dudek, allegedly to say he was a part of Antifa. Listen to clip 9 on the Savage Nation. If you want to know who is behind the riots and the violence in the streets of America, listen carefully.
I used to be an Antifa once upon a time.
Did you?
I used to go after Nazi punks. I have punched neo-Nazis, many of them.
Nice.
Actually, that is from a neo-Nazi's tooth.
Very good.
Yes.
Good job.
Living in Northeast Florida, pretty much southern Georgia. A lot of neo-Nazis and a lot of KKK people.
Yeah.
So, had fun. So
yeah.
It started, I'm like, I get to hit you. I'm so excited.
Oh, I thought that liberals don't hit. Well, he said, I get to hit you. I'm so excited. He then claims that James Comey is his godfather. Is that true? I mean, what he said?
We've been unable to corroborate that part. I will say we have some breaking news. The deputy managing editor of the New York Times just responded, like moments before I came on your show. This is Clifford Levy, deputy managing editor. The official New York Times response, and I'm going to quote this here. He just responded. He says, quote, it appears that the employee violated our ethical standards and misrepresented his role. And he also states, this deputy managing editor says, quote, we are reviewing the situation now. So the New York Times has taken this story and this video that you just played on your show very seriously. That's a very serious statement from a very high-level executive at the Times.
Well, I guess they're going to reward him by moving him up in position. He's done so well.
They may have to fire him. They may.
No, I think they'll give him a bigger job. He'll probably become associate editor as a result of this.
He could get a promotion, but
hey, let me ask you. You're famous for this. You got such nerve. Who did? That's not you. It's a young woman doing it, right?
That's correct. Well, she's relatively young, but was trained and she's been doing this for some time with Veritas.
But how did she get? What did she do? She's in the street with them, according to the angle of the camera that I saw. She has what, a lapel camera? What does she have on her?
We use hidden cameras, all different types of hidden cameras. This was not a smash and grab. It wasn't like this was a relationship that we built for a long time. Undercover work is about building.
Oh, they had struck up a friendship, and they were walking in the streets of Manhattan together.
Many meetings. We had a dozen meetings over months. The things you're seeing here were it revealed over time. And the thing is he claims the statement about the conflicts of interest at the New York Times, he says that multiple times in multiple meetings to different people. It's a really strange thing to lie about. Either the guy's under a psychosis of some type, which is telling because he's the top editor for the New York Times, or he's telling the truth. Either way, it's a big problem for the New York Times because this guy's responsible for delivering you your information.
Okay, so in New York State, is it illegal to record someone without their knowledge and permission?
In New York State, it's actually completely legal to do undercover work. In Pennsylvania, California, Florida, Illinois, it's a problem. But in New York State, you can do it. You can legally record it. And one of the reasons we got this tape is because people on the inside were sending us tips and saying, you got to go talk to these people. We were given names, we were given tips, informants come to us and tell us where the bodies are buried, and then we have to train our people up and come up with a legend, come up with a cover. It's very sophisticated. It's not easy, but it takes a long time and a lot of patience.
We're speaking with the great American journalist, and I don't say that as a joke. I'm not being sarcastic, James O'Keefe of Project Veritas. By the way, Jim, before we go to the next soundbite of this New York Times video editor, I wanted to ask you, how do you get funding?
Well, thank you. We are a non-for-profit organization. I said this last time I came on your program. We are the only only group that has the autonomy, the independence to do stories like this thing with the sexual predator in the New York Times spiking the story. A lot of people are afraid to go after organizations like the New York Times because they want to curry favor with them, or they're going to get boycotted. We don't have those problems because we're a non-for-profit organization. We don't have advertisers. We're funded by donors, lots and lots of small donors.
Did my listeners send a lot of money? Did they help you a little bit last time?
Your listeners helped me enormously. We had an untold number of people who gave $100. Even if you can't give $100, give $10 at Project.
How do they reach you? Just quickly, give us the address people would send money to your organization.
Project VERITAS, ProjectVeritas.com, and donate $10. It's tax exempt.
That's all. Now let's go on, because this is such a big story, in that the New York Times is such the prominent paper of the entire, let's say, liberal or left-wing establishment in America, the paper of record, so to speak. Now we're finding out that this guy was a Antifa punk, he says. He said, I'd have fun beating people up. It gets him excited, according to the tape. He then claims that James Comey, former director of the FBI, asked him to join Antifa. Let's hear 010. I want to listen to this.
But does Comey know about you doing this stuff?
Cannot confirm or deny. There's a follow-up to that question that no one can ask.
Which is?
Did the FBI ask me to do that stuff?
Oh, and what'd you say?
Why do you think I did it?
What'd you do?
I joined that stuff because for them I was an asset.
Really?
Yeah. So it was intelligence gathering, seeing if they were, what their agenda was, whether they're a threat or not.
Are they a threat?
Some, yeah.
What kind of threat?
Domestic terrorism.
He said that Antifa is a threat, some of them. Didn't he say that, Jim?
He does. He sends some mixed messages. He says he was inside of Antifa. He was in Antifa, and he would punch Nazis. And then he continues to talk about, and this is a 15-minute long tape here that we released, about how the relationship he has with the former FBI director, and how now he says Godfather. We don't know if he means that literally or if there's some type of political relationship there. That he says, quote, he's my godfather. My dad and mom knew him and his wife for a really long time. Of course, conflict of interest with the New York Times because he reported on the Comey hearing, and that would be a severe conflict.
Now, didn't Project Veritas get in trouble for some taping you did in California? Didn't they try to indict you?
Yeah, they sued me in California, but we were in a public place with the door open at the Acorn office, so I had to settle a lawsuit. Of course, mainstream media settles thousands of lawsuits for millions and millions and millions of dollars. They settle lawsuits. I settled one lawsuit for so-called invasion of privacy, filming a government office. But we believe that some of these laws are, they're not fair. They're not in line with the First Amendment. We believe that all government organizations should have their fraud and abuse filmed and exposed. It's a matter of...
Didn't your group also go and film the baby killers at Planned Parenthood who were boasting about selling baby body parts?
Yeah, that was another undercover investigation. That was not one that I literally did myself, but I have worked with that group. I have gone undercover into Planned Parenthood, and I'm very close with David Daleiden, who did that sting, and he was arrested. And they are trying to put people like me in jail. I've been arrested myself. They want to shut me down. They want to ban this information.
So, in other words, true investigative reporting is now a crime in fascist America, especially in Governor Brown's liberal California, where everything is so liberal and free. Okay, is it ProjectVeritas.com? I just want to repeat your website again.
Yes, it's ProjectVeritas.com. And let me just say one thing about the censorship. It's just like out of 1984, the party wants to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. They do not want you to see and hear this stuff, but I think we're finally able to break through on this. We got a response from the managing editor at the New York Times just a minute ago. So I think
another one, or the one you read on the air?
This is the one I read on the air, and we have another video coming out. And when the next video comes out on the next high-level editor, I would love to come on your show to talk about that as well.
Hold on, before you leave, you said that you released breaking news on the program. I would be remiss to my audience if they missed it. A minute before you came on the show, you got an answer from the New York Times top editor, Mr. Levi, I believe. Mr. Levy, what did he actually say? Can you say it again, please, Mr.
This is deputy managing editor for the New York Times responding to the hidden camera investigation that you just played. The official New York Times response, quote, "It appears that an employee violated our ethical standards and he misrepresented his role. Quote, we are reviewing the situation now." That is unquote. That is a very serious reaction from this newspaper. They know they're in trouble, and we have more tapes coming.
Okay, we want you back the minute you have them. James O'Keefe, ProjectVeritas.com. Thank you so much for being with us on the Great Savage Nation. Back in a minute.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. If you travel for business, you know it's a game of wins and losses, right? Popping open an overhead bin, finding it empty, that's a win. Sleeping through a wake-up call, that's a loss. Buying your business trip at Upside.com, well, that's not just a win, it's a triple win. Number one is Upside has the absolute best available prices for flights, hotel, and rental cars. Win number two is that Upside will reward you with a gift card to places like Amazon.com every time you buy a business trip. And number three is the amazing 6-star treatment you'll get from Upside's customer service specialists, who they call navigators. One recent Upside customer was called away for an emergency meeting and had to miss his wife's birthday. So a navigator sent her flowers to try and help ease the disappointment. That's pretty nice, right? And that's just one example of how Upside navigators go above and beyond for business travelers. Imagine what they'll do for you. Upside navigators are instantly accessible 24/7 by voice, chat, email, or message on the Upside app, even reaching out to you with useful info to help you avoid a problem before it happens. And I'm going to start your Upside 6-star treatment right now. Go to Upside.com, use my code SAVAGE, and you'll get a minimum $100 gift card to Amazon.com. That's code SAVAGE for a minimum $100 gift card to Amazon.com. That's amazing. Simply when you buy your next business trip at Upside.com. So hurry to Upside.com. You deserve a better business trip. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details. Time is almost over. I can't believe it over. Richard, 30 seconds or less, line 4. Fire away. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm not buying the tape. It's obviously a phony baloney propaganda tape, a Harvey Weinstein production. Are you kidding me? It's totally innocuous. It's meant for them to say, this is all Harvey does. He just says.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying the Harvey Weinstein tape released by the New Yorker is fake?
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. It's totally innocuous. Harvey is known for being vulgar and violent. And probably in the real incidents, he probably is vulgar, violent, and assaultive. If you heard a real undercover tape, you'd be really shocked. I'm not buying this.
All right, I hear that you're just speculating as well. We don't know the truth, but the New Yorker certainly would get sued all the way to Gramercy Park and back if it was fake. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be back in a minute.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
The New Yorker magazine published audio today from a New York Police Department sting operation, reportedly from a 2015 encounter between Italian model Ambra Battilana Gutierrez and Harvey Weinstein in his hotel. And according to the story, the two of them were standing in the hallway outside Harvey's hotel room, and Harvey, the mogul, tells Gutierrez, the ingenue, about the actresses he has helped, while trying to get her into his room while he showers. Now, I'm going to play the tape for a couple of reasons. He says to her, "You must come here now," Weinstein says in the audio, while Ms. Gutierrez resists. And then he gets crazy. He says, "Please, now, you're embarrassing me." It is actually frightening to listen to his voice, because when you listen to the voice, you realize this is not the innocent groping you may have thought it was. I know you say, if you're a woman, there's no such thing as innocent groping. I get that. But the guys, I got to tell you something. Groping me, he brushed again. No, he didn't. This is crazy now. Now, in conversation with Gutierrez, he admits to groping her. We have that audio as well. And Gutierrez then goes to police at the NYPD and says she was assaulted, and they don't do anything. This is even more interesting. It goes back to when he did it the first time with someone, and he immediately lawyered up with someone from the Rudy Giuliani firm. Oh, yeah, not a good story. It's so bad in every different way you can imagine. All right, so look, it's a salacious tape. There's no question. It's not at all pornographic. Children can listen to it. There are no dirty words in it. But you're listening to the alleged tape of a very big and powerful man from Hollywood named Harvey Weinstein, allegedly in conversation with a model, Ambra Battilana Gutierrez, in March of 2015. It's a little sickening, by the way. I got to tell you this. This is not humorous. There's no humor in this. There's no fun in any of this. It's actually mentally challenging to listen to what you're about to hear. This is a desperate man. This reminds me in some way, listening to it, of Anthony Weiner. There are people with sexual problems that they can control, or sexual proclivities that they have completely under control. It doesn't take over their whole life. They compartmentalize their sexual issues, and there are those who do not compartmentalize their sexual issues. I would guess, I'm not in Hollywood, but I would guess that virtually everyone who's ever gone to Hollywood goes, the men in particular who rise to high places, go there for the sexuality that is rampant and to get control over men or women, boys or girls, when I say it that way, whatever they like. They know they have the power to get it. The casting couch is nothing new. However, no one has ever heard what you're about to hear, anything like. I never heard anything like this. I've been around a little while, and I want to play it for you. Now, again, this was released today by The New Yorker. It's Harvey Weinstein reportedly pressuring a young model to watch him while he takes a shower. This is if this is true, this is sicker than you could imagine. I've never heard anything like this. How does he get excited by having a girl watch him take a shower? What is it? I don't understand it even. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny about this. Where is the disconnect here in the brain? What wire is crossed? What circuit is broken? I don't understand this one. If there's a psychiatrist listening to the show who deals with sexual pathology, can you please call the Savage Nation after we all listen to this and explain where the excitement is in watching someone watch you shower? I don't quite understand that. I just don't understand it. Leave it at that. Okay? So here it is, released today by the New Yorker. Mr. Weinstein, blame them, not me. And I wish you the best. I actually have pity for you, to be honest with you. To be honest, I'm not getting any pleasure out of this. I feel bad for the guy. I think there's something so wrong here. There's something so damaged here that as a compassionate human being, I have pity for the man. Listen to 01.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. Now you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I cannot. No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to be touched.
I won't do a thing.
I don't want to.
Do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time. Sit with me. I promise.
Don't want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I ask you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want to.
Go to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
I mean, don't have a fight with me in the hall.
It's not nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Please come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my jacket,
yesterday you touched my breast.
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that.
But are you used to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to that.
I won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Don't ruin your friendship with me. Don't ruin your friendship with me. You know, at a time like this, you don't know what to say. You can't laugh at this. You can't laugh at people who have such weakness or sickness. You can't. Did I really laugh at Anthony Weiner? I felt bad for him when I saw those tapes. Okay, so here we go again. Now, whether the model is using it to her own advantage, of course she is right now, but that's sort of irrelevant. How did this tape get made? Was she wearing a wire? The NYPD had sent her back, I believe, because she had said it happened before. So they sent her back. She taped this interchange. God. You know, I say God because it's the only place I can turn. We had floods in Houston. Then we had the next set of floods in Florida and hurricanes. Then we had the Las Vegas mass slaughter. Now we have the out-of-control fires in Napa and Sonoma. It's like the end of times. I'm not given to these thoughts. I'm not given to these thoughts. It's like the end of the world. Something is so off with the whole picture. And then we have, a president who says he's going to go, allegedly, to the border of North Korea and mock or provoke Kim Jong-un, who threatens to have a hydrogen bomb. And he's egged on, apparently, by a guy in the media who's going to get more mileage out of him. I don't know what's going on in this situation other than, I can say, well, leave it to God. It's God's hand. Let's read God, Faith, and Reason together when it comes out. I'll do all of that. But I swear to you, when I said to you I had to do a book for God, and I'm not going to do an infomercial right now, as my thanks to God for having given me this great career he's given me, and my health, and my great family, I said, this is the book I have to write. The publisher wasn't happy with it, but I wrote it. It's really based upon writings I've written since I was very young. God, Faith, and Reason. And now, where would I turn today? I don't know where to turn. Where do you turn today? Where do you turn for sanity in this insane world? I'm telling you, it looks like a crazier world by the day. But the thing is this. I could ask you, say, oh, my, are you shocked by the depravity that is being exhibited right now with the Weinstein story? We go to the movies for the depravity. We love the depravity. We love the violence. We love the depravity. That's why we go to the movies. What do you think movies are? Since Lumiere discovered the projector or invented the projector, starlets have been seduced by people who are behind the camera and running the projectors. I mean, what? This is a shocker. The thing is that's shocking about this, I think, is that if you look at Weinstein's face, he has the face that matches the story. This is one of the most interesting faces I have seen in years. He looks sort of like a human gopher, someone who burrows down into things, and the face matches the story. That's what's intriguing. In other words, it's the ugly face of Hollywood. It's not the pretty boys. It's not the polished exercise guys. It's not the gluten-free people. It's not the gluten-free crowd. This is a guy who looks like he knocks down fries and chips and shakes. But he was really after something else. Now, that's not the biggest story in the world. I realize that, especially here in the Bay Area. I'm choking to death. On the weekend, we had Columbus Day on Sunday. It was one of the most beautiful days of my life to date. Really one of the finest days. Perfect weather, happy Italians, one parade thing after another, overhead air show, Blue Angels, great, unbelievable. And the air was perfect. And a visiting friend from the East Coast said it's never been more beautiful. He never saw anything like it. The very next morning, bingo, we went from heaven to hell. I'm 30, 40 miles south of the fires, and I'm coated with my houses, my cars, coated with soot, choking to death from the smoke. Lives have been decimated. There are so many elements to the story of the fires in Napa and Sonoma that haven't been told by the major national media that I'm going to try to fill you in on as well, because no one in the history of Sonoma and Napa have ever seen this many fires spontaneously ignite at once and spread as quickly. Nobody has ever seen it. Now, because I'm not in the world of government, I can ask questions they're not even asking themselves because they're busy dealing with the disaster of the fires, which are not out yet. And the questions are, were they ignited by individuals? Because nobody can understand how they moved so quickly and how they appeared all at once. Well, out here in the Bay Area, we have a scorched earth up there in Napa, Sonoma. You say, well, I don't care. This is the funny thing about America. We're not really a cohesive nation. When you had the floods in Houston, right, you didn't care in New York. It wasn't affecting you. When they hit Florida, maybe because you go down there or your mother lives in a retirement home. But, it's a very regional thing. It's a very local thing. It's a very neighborhood thing. If that doesn't affect your block in Manhattan, you really don't care what goes on in the world. I've seen that. I've known it. I've lived in New York. And Manhattan is about the most provincial place on the planet. In other words, East 73rd Street is East 73rd Street, and there's nothing outside of East 73rd Street to those who live on East 73rd Street. No one cares about the fires in Napa, Sonoma unless they had property there or they had a relative there. This is the horror of it. So here I am doing a national show, and I'm trying to get you to understand what a devastation this is. Trust me on this. The national media is not doing a service to the people in this area. I am 30, 40 miles south. San Francisco is coated in smoke right now. San Francisco, a major city, is covered with smoke. The air quality is that of after a bombing mission. The area of Napa, Sonoma looks like a bombing run had just been conducted, like napalm, like someone napalmed some neighborhoods. I'm telling you, nothing's standing. There's sticks coming out of the ground. How did all these fires start spontaneously at almost the same time? There's a lot going on here that's not being even looked at because it's so devastating. Of course, the officials are dealing with the now, not with what caused it. Who's ever going to look into what caused it? People don't know if there was an accident that set this off. Was it done on purpose? No one who knows natural fires has said to me, Michael Savage, yes, this moved this quickly on its own. No one's ever seen this happen before. Then we got the Weinstein sting, as published by the New Yorker. The tape, very sad, a very sick situation. The man sounds desperately hopeless or hopelessly desperate.
I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. All right, we now move on to the Vegas massacre because something came out today that's alarming. Headline, Los Angeles Times, casino guard alerted hotel to gunmen before Las Vegas massacre began. Let me repeat that. Before the Las Vegas massacre began, a wounded Mandalay Bay hotel security guard called hotel officials to warn them about a gunman on the 32nd floor, according to an investigator to the LA Times. This came out today. But police did not arrive at the room where the guard had been shot until after Stephen Paddock had finished a 10-minute shooting spree on the crowd gathered below for the country music festival. This is a revelation. It's a revelation that requires immense discussion. Hotel security had been alerted coming a day after Las Vegas police changed their timeline of how the Route 91 Harvest County Music Festival massacre started on October 1. So now we learn that Mandalay Bay security guard Jesus Campos was shot 6 minutes before. Quote, he called it in before the attack began, possibly using a hallway phone to contact whole security. I want to know why they didn't rush up there and stop the shooting. What's wrong here? Listen to clip 14. If we could find clip 14, that would be superb.
About the single person whose action helped pinpoint the location of the suspect, and that was the Mandalay Bay security guard Jesus Campos. As you might imagine, Mr. Campos was not only injured when he was fired upon, as he did his room check about the door alarm down the hall from the suspect's room, but he was also extremely shaken up by what happened to him. He was able to confirm for us exactly what he heard and saw in the moments before he was shot.
Okay, so why didn't the hotel immediately break down the door? If he called it in before the attack began, according to today's report by Clark County Assistant Sheriff Tom Roberts, he manually called down and he used his radio to call. That's what we were briefed this morning. Why then did hotel security not rush up there, break the door down, and stop the massacre? Number one. Number two, and this is a big one, where were the police on a thing like this? I'm going to ask you, the audience of the Savage Nation, to give me a call at 855-407-282. We're going back to the Vegas massacre. It is far from over. It is far from over because a new story emerged today. Casino guard alerted hotel to gunman before the Las Vegas massacre. Before the massacre, he calls down and says he was shot through the door. Why did hotel security not rush up there with the Las Vegas Police Department and stop the man before he committed this atrocity? Representatives from Mandalay Bay have not responded to the Times' request for more information. This comes to us at the Savage Nation from the Los Angeles Times. This changes everything. What do you think actually happened now? This confirms a number of suspicions that I've had for a long time. One of which is that if this guard, Mr. Campos, is saying he was shot before the attack and that he alerted hotel officials about a gunman on the 32nd floor, why did the police not arrive? But it begs another question, and I don't know how to put it without getting into legal trouble. Is the guard himself complicit in the shooting spree? The whole thing sounds like it's a mixed mass. Something was made up here. Something's wrong. The police have now changed their story twice or three times. I want you to call the show at 855-407-282 right now. Your opinion. It counts. I'll be here to take your calls on the Las Vegas revelation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now. 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. Savage.
Let's put some things together here. Houston, terrible floods. Florida, terrible flooding. Puerto Rico, still underwater, no electricity in many areas. Vegas, worst massacre in U.S. history. Now the wine country's burned down. It looks like a bombing run in Vietnam in the 1960s. And it doesn't make sense to me, some of this stuff. So we could talk about Weinstein, sure. That's a distraction as far as I'm concerned. Casino guard alerted hotel to gunman before Las Vegas massacre began. Just came out in the Los Angeles Times. A wounded Mandalay Bay hotel security guard called hotel officials to warn them about a gunman on the 32nd floor before the massacre began. But police did not arrive at the room where the guard had been shot until after Paddock had finished his 10-minute shooting spree, killing somebody in the crowd. He called it in before. Now the police changed their timeline. We have no reports from the FBI. The FBI should be all over this. It seems the Las Vegas police are now going back and forth on this. We just don't know how long it took him to call. He's getting shot at. He's running. He's getting shot. He finds some cover. That's when he starts calling in, says Clark County Assistant Sheriff Tom Roberts, said the L.A. Times in an interview. He manually called down and he used his radio to call. That's what we were briefed this morning. This whole story stinks to high heaven. If I were an investigator, the first thing I would do is check for blood stains in the room of the guard, Jesus Campos. You want to run a scenario, a fictionalized scenario. He certainly, if he is not complicit, something doesn't make sense here. He says he was shot through the door by the killer Paddock, that he was going to go down the hall. A guy, Paddock, saw him and he shot him through the door. Let's say he's telling the truth, but let's say he's not telling the truth. Let's say Jesus Campos was complicit and in the room with Paddock, and they were both firing, and then he killed Paddock. There would be blood stains from Paddock. Paddock's blood would be all over Jesus Campos's clothing. Has that been investigated? Why am I having to do an investigation on the radio? What do you think about this? 855-407-282. It's the Savage Nation. Alex on WABC, line 8. 30 seconds or less. Go ahead, please. Okay, dead shot. Line 1. Go ahead, you're on the Savage Nation. Next one. Line 1, you're on the air.
I don't believe the bit about the note being calculations that he scribbled at the last minute in the hotel room. Guy who did that much planning, amassed that many guns, brought them up to the hotel, all that stuff. He should have done those calculations way ahead of time, had everything preset, ready to go, knowing what elevation angles and everything to shoot in order to hit that, especially when he did not have any tracers where he wouldn't know. So he had to have that all worked out beforehand before he got into that hotel room. So the note thing just doesn't add up for me at all.
All right, so that's another element that doesn't add up to you. Thank you, sir. The audience has great intelligence. Maybe they can help the police and the FBI get to the bottom of this. There's also the issue now of the fires in Napa and Sonoma. I will repeat again, something you're not getting from the national news. People who have lived there all their lives are reporting to me that they have never heard of or seen this many fires ignited or start at the same time and move as quickly. It's never happened like this before. This is something new. Don't believe it's the same old, same old. It is not. KSFO, Janelle, line 9, go ahead. What's the topic? I don't know where the people are. I'm hitting the buttons, Robert, and nobody is there, James. I guess they hang up before I can get to them. Let's go to line 2. Line 2, you're on the air. What's on your mind? Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Come on. Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, Michael, have you not heard that the CEO of Mandalay Bay sold his stock in the company 2 weeks before the shooting?
Where did you read that?
I read it on the news.
No, but which source? Where in the news?
I can't recall exactly what it was.
All right, well, let's look into that. I don't know if it would have any bearing on this. It could be just coincidental, for sure. Bill, KBET Las Vegas, line 4. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Michael. Listen, my wife and I were kind of following this, and last night we came across a piece of news feed that was very interesting. There's a site that was kind of an offbeat site that has, sort of, a controversial reputation for having, facts that are sometimes spurious, sometimes they're real accurate. So we're looking at this and they're saying, okay, the shooter actually was a CIA gun runner, and there was a device that was found in his room. There was a communication device that they traced to the guy who was manufacturing them, or was somehow associated with that. And interestingly enough, that the guy who this was traced to, he was also being investigated to whether he was selling this technology to the CIA from his company. And because it was,
I can't follow. I've seen some of the conspiracy theories that the government is really behind it. But from my point of view, what sense does that make? Why would the government do this? What, to seize our guns? That's how that storyline goes, right?
It doesn't make any sense really at all, except that these seem to be facts. We checked it out with Reuters.
Here's a part of that story that doesn't hold up. This guy had no politics that we know of. He wasn't a liberal. He wasn't a conservative. Why did he choose a country music festival? If he really wanted to provoke the ire of the media and of Hollywood, notice they've forgotten the story already. They've moved on because it was only country western white people who got killed by and large. If he really wanted to provoke the ire of Hollywood and the media with a story that never would end, he would have attacked a concert that was primarily attended by folks who were on the other side of the aisle. But he didn't do that. So I don't believe that theory holds water, to be honest with you. Or you want me to go back to the Weinstein thing? I mean, and do the psychological analysis of that. I'm not that interested in it anymore. And the guy's pretty sick. It's sad. He sounds like a very, very, very needy person. Let's put it to you that way. And it's another Anthony Weiner all over again. And let's hope he gets the help he needs. He says he needs help. And he's going to go into a, quote, facility. I hope it's a different facility than Anthony Weiner went to, because it didn't seem to do him any good so far. JJ, KAOK, Las Vegas, or are you in L.A.? KAOK in, where are you? Louisiana? Line 7. JJ, where are you calling from?
From Louisiana.
Go ahead, my friend. What's on your mind?
I just want to say I'm hard-pressed to believe that he did it, and he definitely wasn't alone. It's an awful lot of planning just for one guy to pull off that big of a shoot.
But I read you a revelation that came out only today. Casino guard was alerted the hotel to the gunman before the massacre. What does that tell you?
It tells me that he's one of them in on it.
You think the guard was involved. So do I. In other words, a reasonable investigator would immediately say, hold it a minute. Hold it a minute. Hold it a minute. If he called hotel officials to warn them about a gunman on the 32nd floor, and police don't arrive at the room where the guard had been shot until after Paddock had finished the shooting spree, what does that tell you about the whole picture? You mean the police wouldn't rush there immediately? Why not?
Maybe they got reports saying don't go there, it's a hoax. I mean, it really could be anything.
Okay, don't go there, it's a hoax. Would you not, if you were an investigator for the FBI, go back to the crime scene, try to match blood on the security guard's clothing with the blood of Paddock?
Oh, definitely. I'd be going off to textbook training.
Yeah, in other words, let's be just logical about it. I mean, you have to be CSI to figure this out. A guard says, hey, I just got shot through the door. There's a gunman on the 32nd floor. 10 minutes go by. The shooting spree starts. People are killed. And now the guard is not, they don't check his clothing out for blood splatter and see if the blood matches the shooter, Paddock?
Exactly.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Don't buy the whole thing. Something's wrong. It stinks to high heaven. Dave on KSFO line 2. Fire away. You're on the air.
Hey, Dr. Savage. I was just thinking about that security guard and being shot through the door. And I remember when I first heard that, I thought if he saw him on a security cam from his firing position and he turned around and shot through the door, somebody else probably would have noticed when the bullets came through the wall and the door and everything else. So I don't know. I don't know where it all lands, but it just doesn't seem right to me that maybe he fired one shot and it happened to hit the guy and no one else heard about it.
Yeah, Dave, and I mean, if I were writing the mystery novel, and I have written several adventure novels, let's see, Abuse of Power was a New York Times bestseller. Time for War, another one was Countdown to Mecca. They were pretty big novels for their time. Harvey Weinstein certainly turned down the rights. Incidentally, none of my novels have been picked up by Harvey Weinstein or Katzenberg or Hatzenberg or Matzenberg, Ratzenberg or Spielberg. And we know why, of course, because you don't work in that town unless you're on their political side. If you're not on their political side, your books go right into the trash heap. That's their right. They can do what they want. But if I were writing a film scenario for Harvey Weinstein about the Vegas massacre, and I certainly am not a screenwriter, but the screenplay would go along the lines of both Paddock, the shooter, and the guard were shooters. They were both shooting. The guard then kills Stephen Paddock, shoots Paddock in the head with his own handgun, and then goes out after shooting himself in the foot and says he was shot by the other guy to warn them. And that would explain the two-shooter theory that we heard initially. Clark County Assistant Sheriff Tom Roberts told the LA Times just today, it's brand new news, the following. He said he called it in before the attack began. He manually called down and he used his radio to call. That's what we were briefed this morning. Roberts said he didn't know precisely what time Campos called in his own shooting before the assault on the concert goers began, or whether the hotel immediately passed the information to police. We just don't know how long it took him to call. He's getting shot at. He's running. He's getting shot. He finds cover. That's when he starts calling in. Okay, so we can believe the security guard, but we certainly wouldn't rule him out as complicit in the shooting. Any homicide, no one is ruled out who's at the scene. No one is innocent until proven innocent. It's that simple, especially in a case like this. So I'd like to know why the FBI has not yet come out and said that we're investigating new leads. Why? Why? I'll let you figure out why. Virginia, KSFO Radio. Go ahead, Virginia. What's on your mind?
For Sunday at 10 p.m., Vegas starts. 1 week later, October 8th, around 10 p.m., the fires were started. And there was also a very huge Philippine...
Oh, wait, you're reading my Twitter feed because I'm the one who put up the 1010. Are you aware of that?
No, I didn't see that. Sorry. But also...
Well, no, then I'll read it from my own Twitter feed because I'm the first to put it up. Okay, I'm glad someone saw it. You ready? 10 p.m. Sunday, multiple fires ignited in Northern California. 10 p.m. Sunday, a week ago, Vegas massacre. Chinese 10-10 holiday. Does anyone see the connection? No, because there may not be any, but it's very coincidental to me. 10-10, today is October 10th. 10-10, the 10-10 holiday in China symbolizes the end of the control of the masters of China and the beginning of the Republic of China. I don't know if you know any of this. The 10-10 is a huge holiday in Taiwan today, and it was a huge holiday in San Francisco where there's a large Taiwanese community. Those are the free Chinese who were never communists. They celebrate the 10-10 holiday. And, of course, maybe it's coincidental of the Double 10, but the Double 10 parade occurred on Sunday in San Francisco. 10 p.m. Sunday, multiple fires ignited. 10 p.m. Sunday a week ago, Vegas massacre, Chinese 10-10, Double 10 holiday. I'm the one who put it up on Twitter 7 hours ago. Was I just playing with numbers? Yes, I just simply playing with numbers. Double 10. Double 10, double 10, double 10. What do people have to say about that? Oh, you're crazy. Why are you into conspiracy theories? Yes, Michael, exactly a week after Las Vegas. We need to know if there were some drones flying low in Napa with Molotov cocktails attached to them. Is that crazy? Do we know if it's arson related? What, because Jerry Brown hasn't found out yet? It can't be true? I'm sorry, go look at it. Take a look at the pictures. Scorched earth. That's what you're seeing. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Fires, floods, shooting, debauchery. It's getting insane by the minute. Now up in Napa, you know, the wine country, a report just came out that a couple, 99 and 100 years old, they had just celebrated their 75th wedding anniversary. The man celebrated his 100th birthday, the wife her 99th. They were burnt alive in their house. The grandparents' home was, quote, quickly ravaged by the fire, and they were unable to get out in time and tragically died in the fire. She said to the granddaughter, said the only thing worse would have been if one survived without the other. Could you imagine anything like this? You live a whole life. You retire to a peaceful community. You're enjoying the last years of your life in Napa County, one of the most beautiful places on earth. And you figure, well, all right, this is it. I'm just going to live out my life. I'm going to die in peace. And you get burnt alive in your house? So what am I supposed to believe here? They did something evil? Those who got burnt alive, they did something evil in this life or a past life, and it was karma. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. You know, it brings me back to the whole issue with the God, faith, and reason thing. I've said it 100 times so far on the show. I don't believe God is omnipotent. I believe God is omnipresent. He does not control everything that happens. He set the whole thing in motion. The rest is up to chance and us. All right, it's crazy. If this happened in your family, could you imagine how you'd be feeling like this? But what if you're one of those concert goers and your wife or your girlfriend or your mother, your father, your cousin, your uncle got killed and you're being lied to by the police who are now changing their story? The security guard alerted the hotel to the gunman before the massacre began and the police didn't go up there? Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. And I'm only one man with a very logical mind. And I guess logic has gone out the window, unless it's fictional logic. I guess unless Harvey Weinstein produces fictional logic for a detective novel, you don't believe it anymore. But I have a fine mind that's super logical. And I'm telling you, the first thing I would do, if I learned this today, that the guard in Mandalay Bay called hotel officials to warn them about the gunman on the 32nd floor 10 minutes before the guy started shooting. If I just learned it today, they couldn't have burned the guard's clothes already, or have they? They burnt it already? They cleaned up the crime scene already? That's even more suspicious. There should be some blood spatter in that room. And if any of it is Paddock's blood on the guard, bingo, that's the second shooter. It's that simple. Well, at least that's logical to me. I mean, it's not a Hollywood fiction. Hollywood would write it another way. Something's wrong with the picture. What do you think? We got one. I had somebody call us right now out of Las Vegas, out of the area. We got the Harvey Weinstein issue that won't go away. Is there any anti-Semitism in all of this Harvey Weinstein blow-up? Did anyone ask that yet? I think I'll ask it. The end, the tail end, the little stinger. It seems that when the left is turning on the left, it seems Weinstein is now the subject of all of this ridicule in such a way I've never seen. Is there a little tinge of anti-Semitism here, yes or no?